6:04. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, Breland producing. Starting you off at 75 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. 180 Pros, not your IT provider, your IT partner. Busy show today as the session wrapped up yesterday. We'll start our unpacking, our post-mortem, our debrief, whatever you want to call it, which, by the way, is going to go on a lot. We're going to talk to as many different legislators as possible. Anybody who got something done over in that building, I want to have them on the show to talk about it. But we'll also start to pivot a little bit as well. For example, it is hurricane season. We'll talk with Dr. Jill Trepanier. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, from LSU. Of course, we'll check in with Congressman Troy Carter for D.C. Current, presented by LABI. Speaking of LABI, Will Green's going to stop by for his take on the session. And, huge deal coming up in St. John the Baptist Parish that we'll tell you about later on this hour. Right now, though, we start you off with top stories and trending. So that hit and run that happened I believe it was over the weekend, the Baton Rouge Police Department is investigating a fatal hit and run crash. Killed a bicyclist on Winburn Avenue early Sunday morning. Well, according to officers, the crash happened around 1:40 a.m. Detectives believe was a dark-colored SUV traveling westbound along Winburn struck a bicyclist. The family believes it was targeted. We'll have more on that as that investigation continues. Roddy Road out in Ascension Parish between the Church Point Road roundabout and Weber City Road will be closed at least through the rest of this year, starting yesterday. Parish officials said that the closure is to allow for the removal and replacement of the bridge over Bayou Narcisse. The closure is part of the larger Roddy Road widening project. There are numerous alternate routes available. Burton Museum and Gardens has opened a new Welcome Center, the $5 million, 9,500 square foot space, which was funded through private donations, aims to provide a room for educational events and exhibits, as well as a stunning new rental venue for weddings and other social events. Recent road work combined with rain runoff might be the culprit, as Hazmat and DEQ had to be called out to City Park Lake yesterday. An oil and road tar spill was flowing from a storm drain into the lake. They got to work immediately on containment and cleanup and are monitoring until all is back to normal. Sine Die came yesterday afternoon, bringing the 3-month-long 2026 legislative session to a close. The session saw over 2,500 items considered, including a flat $47 billion budget, a new congressional map, and recreational alligator hunting.
Well, the conflict in Lebanon is now complicating peace talks between the U.S. and Iran.
Yep.
Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency is reporting that Tehran is suspending negotiations with the U.S. due to Israel's ongoing military strikes in Lebanon, targeting Iranian-backed Hezbollah.
Yeah.
This throws a monkey wrench in things.
Doesn't it, though? And this is where things get... You can't negotiate with a country when that country is not based off of the country, right?
Right.
When it stretches over into other countries. Hezbollah is technically a political party, but come on. We all know what's going on.
Yep, right. If you're trying to cut your grocery bill, a number of people are turning to apps like Flash Food and Too Good to go to buy surplus food that's
Too good to go.
Yeah.
Too good to go.
It's nearing its expiration date.
So let's get some feedback on this one, all right? Are you downloading apps that get you food that's about to expire to save money?
Gosh.
I know.
If it's I'm one of those people, if it's too close to the expiration date, I'm probably going to throw it away, not cook it.
It depends on what and where. For example, I'll give you a great example. You know the Big Squeezy?
Uh-huh.
When their cold-pressed juices are close to their expiration date, they'll put them out on the counter for like $1. And I'll snatch some up, and if I get to them, I get to them. In fact, I have 2 in my fridge that I have to throw away because I bought too many of them.
But it's $1. I mean,
right. But that's the same thing with this, though, right? I mean, if you got, like, I'm trying to think of what food would be.
Would it be like the Kraft macaroni and cheese, maybe?
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
expires next week.
Right.
So they're going to put it up
And
for
that
$1.
stuff lasts for a year.
Well, so I had one. I was going to cook the boys macaroni and cheese December 2025. I saw it the other day. I'm like, yeah, we're not cooking this. I bet you it still would have been good.
I bet you it would have been good.
I tossed it, though.
See?
I'm one of those weird, I know. And meat, you have to follow that to a T.
Oh, meat?
I'm sure they're not putting that on too good.
meat, you got to follow your nose.
Right.
It's got to pass the smell test.
True. And milk.
If it meat and milk, yes. If it smells okay, you roll with it.
Right. We've got a shark alligator roll story this morning. A police officer in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, is going viral after he tried to wrangle a gator in someone's front yard. Yeah. He hopped on it and got thrown right off.
Yes, he did.
Come on.
It's have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it's worthwhile. It is definitely worth watching.
He's trying to ride that thing like a horse.
I'm literally watching it right now. Trying to like sneak up on the gator with the towel so the gator, has its face covered up or whatever.
God.
And I mean, the second he hops on, that gator whips back and forth and
with the tail.
Yeah.
And that tail, it can cause some bruises.
Oh, yeah.
Break a leg, and this man's trying to.
I mean, it's the least of your worries if you're hopping on an alligator.
Well, true, but it's not a catch. You can't throw a towel on him and try to catch him.
Whoop, 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 whoop. And the thing is, like, the officer, he gets thrown off the front of the gator.
No.
So, yeah. So he, like, barrel rolls into it to kind of play with it, to play into it. Yeah.
The gator, did he chomp on him?
No.
Okay.
No. The gator just wants to be left alone.
He's probably like, dude, leave me alone.
Yeah, that's basically all the gator did was like, get off of me. And that was it.
Can't park here.
No. You can't park on the gator. 611 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got more on Saints OTAs to talk about in a little bit in our sports segment. Before we get to that, though, I want to remind you about the Baton Rouge. I'm sorry, I left the video open.
Poor Baton Rouge Airport.
No, poor gator from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
I gotta see this video.
Yeah, I'll let me refresh it here, so I'll get it for you in break. Baton Rouge Metro Airport, flybtr.com is the website, flybtr.com. Everything's starting off smoothly this morning at the airport, as one would expect. Hey, if you're making your business travel plans, or for that matter, if you're making your vacation travel plans, give the Baton Rouge Metro Airport a look. The trade-offs are unbelievable. When you talk about not having to drive an hour, it's not the drive on the way out of town. It's the drive on the way home. Once you get home, you want to be home. And Baton Rouge Metro Airport is here in our own backyard. Exorbitant parking charges down the road. Don't have to worry about that if you're here. I mean, they have parking available for you here, but I mean, you literally can Uber to the airport here. The TSA experience is otherworldly, and on top of that, they're continually adding flights for your convenience. For example, this coming football season, Delta has added some flights to or a direct flight specifically for LSU football to Knoxville and to Lexington as the Tigers take on Tennessee and Kentucky, respectively. You can learn more at flybtr.com. Get the flight info, get the parking info, get the arrival and departure info, all at flybtr.com. All right, come see. Yeah, right. Shoot. I don't know why I can't make it full screen.
That's okay.
Whoop.
Whoop.
And they're giving him shit about it for sure.
Oh my God. I love how he just goes rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that dude. He's just like, leave me alone.
Crap. I want to see when he goes to grab the towel. Come on, grab the towel. Ah!
He's like, you better not touch me.
Mm-hmm. And then lays right back down again. He just doesn't want to be bothered. Well, you got to go, boss. You're in somebody's yard.
Look at his mouth. He is so pissed.
That's a good 10-foot gator, too.
Yeah, and it's walking up
upset.
to this man's garage.
Shit, that's more than 10 foot. That's the width of the garage.
Oh my God. That would freak me out. You just...
Yeah, use the garbage can. That'll get it done.
I'll piss him off even more. Good morning, y'all.
I think about doing that PSC guy twice. The video I sent you yesterday that we're gonna play back at 8:55 today.
I was thinking we could talk about SH25.
That's what I was thinking. 617, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Myles Garrett goes to the Rams. A.J. Brown goes to the Patriots. Odell Beckham Jr. back in New York. A lot of movement yesterday in the NFL. Meanwhile, over in New Orleans, OTAs continue. What was it? Day 3, I believe, was yesterday. One of the things that has changed so dramatically with the face of the team is the fact that they have a quarterback now. And if you recall back to last season, it was Spencer Rattler until it wasn't. And then once Tyler Shuck took over, it's like, why wasn't this was here the whole time? Like, what could last year have looked like with Shuck at the helm the entire time? Well, he's the guy now, and has been able to take advantage of an off season without having a quarterback battle. Cut 16, please.
I think it's night and day. You're coming here, you're trying to learn all these new terms. You don't know what practice looks like. And for me now, being able to have a second go around and then also kind of have the unit and make sure everybody's on the same page, I feel really comfortable. And like I said, for me now, I can kind of focus on, how we can dive deeper into the playbook, how I can, specifically be better.
Talk about learning that new terminology. I know this is neither here nor there, but every time you're on a different team, you're going to have different terminology. So coming in as a rookie, there's definitely a learning curve right there. Saints missing veterans Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, and Tyrann Mathieu. They're all around. They were all over the place last year. Shuck says he's focused on improving as the leader of the offense on and off the field, especially for a group of rookies in the same position that he was in 1 year ago.
You're trying to do everything that you can to be a part of the unit, but you're also learning a lot of new things. You're going to eat crawfish. You're meeting a lot of new people, so it's a lot for the guys. And I wanted just to be that ear for them and be able to use me as a resource on and off the field. I think we're going to have plenty of time, but also urgency is at a premium. There is a lot that you have to do on your own to prepare yourself.
I love you talking about going to eat crawfish and whatnot. I think we overlook that. Like, the Saints get so much social media traction out of just being from New Orleans. The one going around, and they do this every year, where they give them all the street names and ask them, ask all the rookies to say Chapatulas, to say Calliope. It's a different beast for sure. By the way, moving over to wide receiver Chris Olave, been an active participant in the voluntary OTAs despite not having a new contract yet. All-Pro missed last year's season finale with a blood clot found in his lung, but he's back at it now. It's 6:20. Let's get to the Fox Business Report on Talk 107.3. I guess it would help if I opened the clock on my side, but thank you for the heads up. We are going to miss the Your Money Now at 6:50. I want to get right to Audrey Robertson. She's the Deputy Secretary of Energy for the United States. So, yeah, we're still going to break at 47, but when we come back, instead of hitting Your Money Now at 50, we'll hit the bumper at 50 and come back in. All right, you got the video ready? Crap. All right, heading back to that Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Here is what we've got going on this morning. We're looking at major delays on I-10. Let's start off westbound. You're going to find delays on 10 West. They'll start right around the 10-12 merge and continue all the way through the city, cross the bridge on into the Port Allen side before it clears back up on I-10 westbound. I-110 southbound, you're seeing delays. Will start up around Florida Boulevard, and they will be stacked up until you merge onto 10, getting up on the bridge. And, of course, as a result of that, you're going to see some residual delays on surface streets trying to get on the interstate around I-10 as well. Ray will have more on this for you as updates continue throughout the morning. But if you're looking to make your way westbound from across through 10, you could expect just serious delays as a result of what's going on up there. Meanwhile, if you back things up on I-12 out to Denham Springs, you've got your normal, I want to say normal congestion, but it's a little bit lighter than normal, actually. And 12 is smooth sailing all the way until you get up to just past Airline Highway, and then that's when things start to stack up for what's going on 10 West, just across the bridge. 10 West backing up to Century Parish is good coming into Baton Rouge on that front, and 110 is looking good right now. Surface streets, we got some blockage. Don't know what's going on Terra at Goodwood right now. There's something going on, but just as congestion. We got a hit and run Highland at Airline, and from about 45 minutes ago, an accident Winburn and North Acadian. That's really good traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. 625, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. For 115 years now, ExxonMobil's been doing business right here in Baton Rouge. Of course, you know, oil and gas, the bread and butter of what they've been doing. Been part of Louisiana for more than 115 years. Standing at the intersection of energy and opportunity, generations of families have built careers at Exxon, supported by a culture rooted in safety, innovation, and long-term commitment. Well, now, as Exxon eyes up the future, part of their global footprint is going to need to include carbon capture. How do you do it? How do you do it safely? How do you protect it? How do you do it like we've done everything else? We do everything else cleaner, better, safer than the rest of the world. So how do we make that translate over to carbon capture? You can learn more about what ExxonMobil is doing at aboutlaccs.com, aboutlaccs.com. So we had closed primaries a couple weeks ago for the Senate race. Didn't have it for the House race. Had a couple of other races and ballot initiatives out there. Some stack of constitutional amendments. And then we're going to have runoffs coming up on June 27th, so a little over 3 weeks from right now. But that's all within party, right? It's a closed party primary and a closed party runoff. One of the things to be looking out for here, right down the road, Public Service Commission District 1, which I believe is New Orleans. There's a runoff on the June ballot on the Republican side. I'm not sure about the Democrat side, but I know there's a runoff on the Republican side between John Young and Stephanie Hilferty. Come November, it gets opened up to all the parties. That's when the real election happens. These are closed for party right now. But once the real election happens, we're going to start to meet some other candidates. And I got to tell you, there's a candidate who has caught my eye on PSC District 1. His name is Chris Justin. He is an independent running for PSC. He's got some ideas on his website. Talk about the main headline on his website: energy bills are up 45% since 2018. He talks about on his website, strengthening the grid and has a number of other ideas he would tackle as a PSC commissioner. But as an independent, you really got to do something to set yourself apart. If you're listening on the radio, I think this will translate on radio because it's a video. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, it'll be over my left shoulder here. If you're listening on radio, I hope it has the same impact. A little bit, shall we say, racy? How do you get racy running for PSC? Well, let's just give this a listen.
Do you have a leaning pole? Has it been sagging over time and you don't know what to do about it? Are you worried that your pole is going to let you down when you need it most? Every pole is a little different, and you can imagine that some amount of lean is okay. But as an engineer, I needed to know, when do we have to service our leading poles? So I looked it up. And surprisingly, there are no standards for when our poles need servicing. The Public Service Commission was asked to create them 7 years ago. But Louisiana loses power way more than our neighbors, even when you ignore the hurricanes. A little wind and some rain is all it takes to shut off our lights. Now, I'm fortunate to have had my pole last serviced 219 days ago, but most people aren't so lucky.
I haven't had my pole serviced in 23 years.
I'm not a complainer, but my pole has needs.
Truthfully, I haven't even seen my pole in a long time.
I got half a mind to service my pole myself.
I don't need a plethora of poles. I just need one reliable pole that gets the job done.
When utilities don't spend servicing our poles, they keep us profit. $7 billion in storm damages later, and no one's been held accountable. That's why I built servicemypole.org. Upload a picture of your leaning, rotten, untrimmed pole, instantly get a score assessing how bad it is. We're building a leaderboard of the worst poles in Louisiana. Show me yours at servicemypole.org. I'm Chris Justin. I'm running for Public Service Commissioner. Join us. Tell your utility, service my pole.
Service my pole.
Service my pole.
Service my pole.
I just want y'all to service my pole. I wish they would just service my pole.
When I'm your commissioner, I'll make sure that they service your pole.
Thank God.
And by the way, I'm an independent. I don't answer to any political party, and I'm not taking any money from utilities.
Service my pole. I have haven't had my pole service in 19
He
years.
said 23. My guy said 23. Oh. I'm sorry. I love that commercial. I was a minute 47. I love that commercial, though. I hope he could squeeze that down to like a 30 or a 60 and get that on TV. That's attention grabbing. That is memorable. That is something that will break through the noise. Absolutely. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, we got to here comes news.
Alan, they just need a woman to service your pole.
That one girl says she didn't need a whole lot of poles, just one that gets the job done.
And then he goes, send us a photo of your pole.
Oh, he gonna get some dick pics.
We need to get him on the show.
Oh, that's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get primaries over with. Let's get once we get closer to the election season.
Oh, Byron, expanding moral dilemma to Tuesday. Your Louisiana inspection sticker expired on 6/1/26. Do you get a new one since they are about to go away?
No.
Absolutely not. Debbie's rolling.
That's the one at Point Capee. What happened to my notes for... Did I not print them? There it is. I did not print the press release because I'm a moron. Nope. Nope, I will.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. We are still in the spot break right now, but we'll be getting out shortly, okay?
636, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to welcome aboard, as we do most Tuesdays. I had to take last Tuesday off as I was on the road. Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside. I was actually down right close to his studio. Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, on with us. How are you, man?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning. First and foremost, did you make it out to Sale 250?
I did. It was nice.
It was
very nice.
Very impressive.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Just impressive.
What ships did you get to tour, or did you just walk around?
We just walked around,
Okay.
Checked out the fireworks. Did some shopping. I mean, it was nice. Very nice.
I was impressed with the level of crowd. There were a lot more people out there than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, a very big success. So, I felt good about it, and think it, brought in a lot of money for the city. So, very excited about it for New Orleans.
Also, it was cool just seeing sailors all over the place. Like, everywhere you turned around the corner, they were there. I actually feel bad. I had Kelly Schultz on yesterday. I feel bad for all the other port cities that had to come after New Orleans, because between the Admiral's party that was on one of the boats that was by the Riverwalk, and then the party at the World War II Museum that had the 610 Stompers there, like, everywhere they go after this is going to be a letdown. New Orleans should have closed the tour instead of opening it.
Right. And that's the way it is on everything. I mean, it's impossible to compete.
True.
So New Orleans knows how to throw a party better than anybody. So, yeah, it was a great way to start, but it's downhill from here, right?
Right. I know. Wherever they're sailing next, it's going to be like, oh, great. This is Virginia. Fantastic.
Right. I know.
Session wrapped
That's
up
the way it
yesterday.
is.
Session wrapped up yesterday. What were your takeaways?
Yeah. It was dominated, obviously, by, some big issues, such as redistricting. There was, I haven't seen those kind of crowds for years on an issue. I mean, it was a highly energized, charged issue. And certainly I think that was the biggest thing that's, hit the session in a long time. You had some bipartisan issues, such as the Caleb Williams Act. You had the Fortified Homes program that people could get together on. So that was, a bipartisan, some accomplishments. Eliminating the vehicle inspection stickers, that was something that actually took a lot of attention, believe it or not. You got some little things from the alligator hunting season to, more economic development measures. So I just think it was dominated by this gerrymandering issue.
Yeah, the congressional map really sucked up all the oxygen for like the last 3 weeks or so before it was all said and done. And it was on its way to being a very, I don't want to say complacent, but non-combative session. Even the carbon capture didn't get as ugly as I thought it might.
No, and there were a lot of hopes that the opponents of carbon capture had, that they were going to get some successful legislation through, and I know Mike Johnson was hoping, but that didn't happen. So, yeah, Mike Bayham got his bill through concerning the term limits. That's going to be interesting for governors. That was something that he was, working hard on, and all kinds of different things. I mean, they had to scramble after the amendments went down in flames, and figure out ways that they were going to, help the teachers and so forth. But I think overall, the governor feels good about it. I mean, they're not spending lots more money, and the budget's not growing. They're showing some fiscal discipline. They're not going to have the surplus that they thought they were going to have a few months ago, because revenues are not where they thought it was going to be. So, you get the fully funding programs of K through 12, minimum foundation. So you got money for economic development. You have some pay raises there for state employees. So, but, as far as a dramatic change to make Louisiana competitive with Texas and Florida, I didn't see that, Brian.
Same. It just it didn't move the needle a whole lot. We saw the tiniest move. I mean, nothing got worse, but nothing got
Right.
significantly better. There was no legislation that we want to go back and combat and undo. But where was the needle
Right. I mean,
mover
when you
on
look
this
at
one?
where we are compared to our neighboring states, when you look at some of the massive changes that Mississippi's making, that other states have made over the years,
Right.
We're in a competitive environment here. I mean, we've got to turn around our population decline. I just didn't see dramatic progress. I mean, you're right. It didn't get worse. Some incremental progress on some issues, but not the kind of game changer that I really think Louisiana needs.
Talk with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. Oh, one of the issues that went through the legislative session involves judges down in New Orleans. Can you give us the breakdown of what went down and how this it morphed? It became actually, I say nothing got worse. This one might have come out worse.
Well, I mean, there are people down here that are upset.
Yeah.
They're upset with the congressional remap, redistricting. They're upset with the fact that we lost a clerk because this guy, Calvin Duncan, just got elected.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, we're trying to make New Orleans like the other parishes. I mean,
Right.
We had 2 sheriffs. We didn't need 2 sheriffs. We have 2 clerks. We don't need 2 clerks. And we certainly don't need anywhere near the number of judges that they have. And what happened was the civil district court judges came out fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't get any cuts. But, you did have cuts to the criminal court judges. And, there are 3 seats that have been eliminated. So you go down from 12 to 9. Now, in other parishes, you have judges that do both civil and criminal.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have separate civil court and criminal court. So, I mean, hopefully we'll get to that. I mean, this was an incremental change where we're trying to cut, we're trying to make New Orleans like other parishes. We're trying to, have efficiencies. But, I mean, people down here are used to, all these extra positions. They wound up cutting some municipal court judges, some juvenile court judges, and some criminal court judges.
Well, let me re-ask it this way then, because it's not just the what, it's the who. Did the right judges get cut?
Well, I mean, the plan was to do, last in, first out. So the people that were the most recently elected
Mm-hmm.
to be removed, but they allowed, some different judges to stay, and I think was basically due to political connections, and even the governor spoke out against that. He said
Yes.
that some of this last-minute rewrite to the bill, and it was they put a committee together. So you did eliminate some positions, but the ones that were actually the last in did not get eliminated. So he was saying that it was quote unquote ridiculous. So, I mean, it's all politics, and that's how things work so often. But on the bright side, you did have some reductions. I'm all about efficiency. I'm about making New Orleans like these other parishes. We had a bill to give more control to the city council to have oversight over the Sewage and Water Board. Mm-hmm. That was a good thing because if anything needs oversight more, it's the Sewage and Water Board. And now they can elect their own president. It doesn't have to be the mayor. So that was a bill that I think was a positive, and I still believe this clerk bill was a good one. So, I mean, I think overall some consolidation with Orleans positions is generally a good thing.
Same. I just want to make sure it's done the right way, though. I mean, and that I think that was the governor's point as well. Was you're not cutting just for the sake of cutting. You want not just efficiency but effectiveness. So we got just
right.
about go ahead.
Yeah, and you want to do it in a way that makes sense as opposed to politics, right?
Last one before we get you out of here, because you got a show to do, and we got a break coming up on this end as well. Is Elon Musk crazy? Can you build a tunnel under Poitras?
I guess we'll find out. I mean,
does this not scare the hell out of you?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It really does. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've you've ever seen, going down in the quarter where you see, how high those chips are on the river and how far below sea level we are.
1,000. I was down there. I was down there last week, walking around the CBD and by the convention center and through the quarter and whatnot. And yeah, you had a Carnival cruise ship take off on Saturday. It's a visible difference. It's a noticeably visible difference. But the other part of this is the way that the CBD is built. Do you really want to bore underneath it? Like, would Poitras collapse?
No, it's a one. I certainly have my questions, and so this is going to be a 1 mile tunnel system running along Poitras is a proposed route, and the mayor's all in favor of it. She thinks it's a great economic development project. She thinks it could really help New Orleans, but they say it could be beneficial in a lot of different ways. So it's not a done deal. We got Dallas and Baltimore, so
right.
It's a 3-city mix here among the finalists. It's called the Tunnel Vision Challenge, but these other cities are not below sea level. So,
that's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Right.
And let's never forget Boston's Big Dig. That came out great 50 years later.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest messes in history.
Yeah.
But I do have the feeling that if Elon Musk is involved, it's not going to be a total debacle because he seems to do things pretty well.
Yeah, I could see that. The below sea level part, the unsturdiness of the ground, all these things are like, but why? So anyway, you got to get on the air. We got to get the break. He's Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
Thank you, Brian.
Later.
Take care.
Yep. Quick break. Coming back on the other side, we've got Audrey Robertson talking energy innovation. You're calling her. Big news coming to St. John the Baptist Parish at 6:52 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. And we're going to get right to the hotline once again. From the U.S. Department of Energy, the Assistant Secretary of Energy, Audrey Robertson is on with us. Secretary Robertson, good morning. Welcome aboard. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Brian.
No, glad to have you on here. This is huge news coming to St. John the Baptist Parish. Tell us all about it.
I am so excited to be on with you and your listeners in all across the country, but especially in St. John the Baptist Parish, Louisiana, which is just a fantastic part of the country. And yes, we just recently announced this morning from the Department of Energy a award to a company that is building a rare earth demonstration facility in St. John the Baptist Parish. It was in total, it was about $134 million across two projects. That one of them will be located right there, and it is an exciting turn of events for rare earth processing and critical minerals in the U.S. supply chain, and the parish. It will essentially take some of the red mud or the alumina refinery waste, and it's waste because they don't use it's the sort of the byproduct of making alumina, and process it into some of the most valuable and important rare earth elements that we need in the United States. So like scandium, gallium. It can also produce iron, and it can extract additional alumina.
Okay, so let's start with that. What are these things used for?
Very good question. Think of semiconductors and other high value metals, things that go into phones and batteries and magnets. Mm-hmm. And today, over 90% of the world's rare earth elements are produced and manufactured in China.
Yes.
And we don't have the ability historically to extract them profitably in the United States. But President Trump, the Department of Energy, and the bold leadership across the federal government right now has taken a decisive effort to change that story, and this is one step along the way in using what is already existing, which is this red mud, and extracting the rare earth elements out of it. And that's done by great companies, great scientists. This particular project is led by Element USA, which is a company that you may know. They have announced parts of this facility in the past. It's going to be about an $850 million total investment in Louisiana. And they're partnered with the Colorado School of Mines, as well as a number of other tech-focused entities that have come together to solve this challenge.
Okay, so have we just been sitting on this the whole time, or is there new technology that has somehow made Laplace valuable?
It's not. It's new technology, and that's how we're going to win this race to begin with. That's how American ingenuity and entrepreneurship and hard work combined will allow us to extract these rare earth elements profitably. We always knew they were located in this red mud, but extracting them profitably in economic quantity has always been the challenge. But we've been focused at the Department of Energy and across our national labs on finding ways to extract these minerals more efficiently and more economically. We ran a process to work with companies all across the country that had new technologies, that wanted to compete for investment dollars from the U.S. government to commercialize them and get them to scale. That's what we announced this morning. And this company in St. John Parish was one of the two recipients across the country that we selected based on merit and based on science for what we call the Rare Earth Demonstration Facility.
Now, to be clear, and I apologize, I was not a science major. If I was, I would have, I'd be a lot richer right now. But we're separating rare earth oxides and refining them into the metals? Is that the new science part?
Well, I think the best way to think about it is you have piles and piles of mud. all over that are these, big, I think there's like, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the exact number. There is a lot of red mud, is what we call it. And there's quite a bit in Louisiana because of the long history of alumina refineries. You take bauxite, one of the byproducts from making alumina is this red mud. And within the red mud, we will extract the rare earth elements, and then they get turned into oxides. And then it's a little complicated. Then they get turned into metals by going through a few other steps. But the first step in the chain is extracting them from the red mud. And trying to explain this to some friends of mine in the last week or so, it was sort of like saying, how do you get the sugar out of a cookie that's already baked? And that's not easy. But really great scientists can figure out how to do it. And rare earth elements aren't rare. They are everywhere, but they're difficult to extract because they're in short supply, and they are in parts per million. And but this team has been working on the methods and to extract them profitably, and we are so excited that Element USA is putting a flag down in Louisiana. They're going to take what is a waste product and turn it into a critical element to our national security, our economic security, create lots of great paying jobs in Louisiana, and help solve this global challenge.
We've got a minute and a half left with Audrey Robertson, Assistant Secretary for Energy. I want to ask you, is this already proven to be effective, sustainable, long-term? Because, I mean, if it comes to mud, we got plenty of it.
Well, it is proven in certain quantities.
Okay.
The technology is proven, but now the funds that we are investing from the U.S. government, and I would say the Department of War have made a grant earlier in the year as well. This team and this region have the workforce, you have the raw inputs, and now we have the advancement of science to the next stage in making this commercially and economically viable.
We have just scratched the surface, but I've got a hard break coming up. Audrey Robertson, Assistant Secretary of Energy. This is fascinating stuff. I would love to get you back on in the near future for a follow-up where we could dig a little bit, pardon the pun, where we can dig a little bit deeper.
Brian, it would be an absolute honor. Thank you for having me on today, and God bless Louisiana. So appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Audrey Robertson from the Energy Department, the Assistant Secretary for Energy. I mean, amazing stuff. Just red mud in St. John the Baptist Parish. Hour 2's next. That was freaking insane. We're going to be able to build cell phone parts, the parts we've been dependent on China for, by digging in the mud in reserve. Congratulations, Garyville. I don't know any other towns. In Edgard? What else is in St. John the Baptist Parish but mud? Oh, no. This was a bit that I never got to do, and I always wanted to do. If you've ever been on I-55, if you're on I-55 northbound heading from LaPlace to Hammond, right? Right as you hop up over Lake Pontchartrain, like right as you're getting on there, there's an exit for a town that doesn't exist anymore. Ruddock. R-U-D-D-O-C-K. Ruddock. It's either pronounced Ruddock or Rudock. I don't know. It was destroyed by a storm in the early 1900s. And I wanted to do a bit around the anniversary. I think it was like 1914, something like that.
Between now and then, they couldn't have took the sun down.
Right. They still have the exit to get off there. So, Ghost Town in St. John the Baptist Parish. Well, I've always wanted to do a rebuild Ruddock bit. And I know. This might be a reason to do it.
That's an interesting part. I never knew that. That's cool.
Ruddock? Yeah. Yeah, 1915. The 1915 New Orleans hurricane, this was before they were naming him, hit Ruddock, destroying the town and killing 58 residents of Ruddock and the nearby town of Frenier. Nah. Probably. Well, I think they might have had more because they had a wood mill there. So a lot of blue collar. Yeah. The Ruddock Cypress Company. Sawmill. Which back then, you wouldn't even know if a storm's coming or not. No. Unbelievable stuff right there. We just did a segment on mud, y'all. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing, broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. Is it time for your IT to do a 180? Check out 180pros.com. Tell you more about them in just a quick second. By the way, we're starting off the second hour at 75. We're starting off the 7 o'clock hour at 75 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Trey Godfrey, the interim co-CEO of the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership, a.k.a. BRAC, a.k.a. formerly known as the Chamber, going to join us in about 10 minutes from right now to recap the legislative session. 7:35, we're going to talk hurricane season with Dr. Jill Trepanier. We were supposed to have Will Green at 7:15. I screwed up and double booked. Trey was on the books long before Will was. So Will's going to push back to 8:05, which means we'll wrap up this hour with This Day in History. So let's get after it. Top stories and trending. Whoop, sorry. I just closed out you ever just accidentally close every tab you have open?
And then you lose your train of thought?
What? No, it's not that I've lost my train of thought. My train of thought is there, but every tab that I have open is now closed.
Oh, no.
So, give me like 10 seconds and I'll have things reopen again. Let's go ahead and start off. You said number 5. Roddy Road out in Ascension Parish between the Church Point Road roundabout and Weber City Road will be closed at least through the rest of this year, starting yesterday. Parish officials said the closure is to allow for the removal and replacement of the bridge over Bayou Narcisse. The closure is part of a larger Roddy Road widening project. From our news partners at WBRZ, the Louisiana Department of Health is issuing Sunbucks this week, a $120 grocery benefit for eligible children during the summer months. According to Feeding Louisiana, nearly 1 in 4 children lives in food-insecure households. Children who receive free or reduced-price school meals are the ones who are eligible for this benefit. Burden Museum and Gardens has opened a new Welcome Center. The $5 million, 9,500 square foot space, which was funded through private donations, aims to provide room for educational events and exhibits, as well as a stunning new rental venue for weddings and other social events. Recent road work combined with yesterday's rain runoff might be the culprit, as Hazmat and DEQ had to be called out to City Park Lake. An oil and road tar spill was flowing from a storm drain into the lake. They got to work immediately on containment and cleanup. They're monitoring until all is back to normal. Sine Die came yesterday afternoon, bringing the 3-month-long 2026 legislative session to a close. The session saw over 2,500 items considered, including a flat $47 billion budget, a new congressional map, and not to be overlooked, recreational alligator hunting.
Well, the conflict in Lebanon is now complicating peace talks between the U.S. and Iran. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency is reporting that Tehran is suspending negotiations with the U.S. due to Israel's ongoing military strikes in Lebanon, targeting Iranian-backed Hezbollah.
So you can't have a negotiation between the U.S. and Iran because of things going on in Lebanon because they're connected by the same quote-unquote political party.
It's just so
exhausting.
It's drawing this thing out.
And this is why, just as an everyday American, this is why this is so infuriating. Like, let's rewind the clock back to when we got into this, and how much was I whining and complaining, saying what happened to affordability being the number one priority.
Yep.
Well, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Well, I understand that, but that's going to be a deep, complicated issue. No, it'll be cleaned up in 4 weeks. Well, you missed 4 weeks by 3 months.
Yep.
And we're nowhere closer right now. I mean,
when you were saying that at first, when the reports were coming out that Donald Trump said this to somebody and et cetera, and he was saying 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what was it, Anderson Cooper?
Yes.
I think it was Anderson Cooper. He said 3 to 4 weeks, and we're already ahead of schedule.
And we're going to be out.
Yeah.
If you're trying to cut your grocery bill, speaking of affordability, a number of people are turning to apps like Flash Food and Too Good to go to buy surplus food that is nearing its expiration date. Gross.
What?
If it's too close to the expiration date, I'm tossing it.
Okay, but most stuff is so filled with preservatives, the expiration date is merely a suggestion.
That's true.
We're not asking to.
That's true.
I don't think you're buying brown bananas or yellow milk, right?
No.
But this is like.
I would venture to say the Kraft macaroni and cheese that I threw away last week that had an expiration date of December 2025, I could have ate that.
Yeah, probably.
I tossed it, though. I'm
Why?
Like, because it just didn't sit. I'm like, watch, I get sick. But you're going to get sick anyways with all the preservatives. And
Too Good to Go is a food rescue app that lets you buy unsold surplus meals from local restaurants, bakeries, and grocery stores at roughly 1/3 of the original price. Most popular and highly sought-after food drops on the app include baked goods and pastries, prepared grocery items, surprise bags of deli meals, salads, and sushi from supermarkets like Whole Foods.
Sushi.
Yeah, I'm not doing the sushi.
Can you imagine?
No.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not doing the sushi. Fast casual and takeout, like, places that sell pizza by the slice.
Yep.
Yeah, would you buy day-old pizza?
If it's been in that heater the whole time, yeah,
Okay.
probably. I could.
Okay. I mean, we've always had day-old bakeries.
Yeah.
You know, buying second-day bread. That's not a problem.
They might be on to something. I'm weary, though. Okay. We've got a...
Not doing sushi.
Right, yeah,
Sorry.
no sushi. We've got a shark alligator roll story this morning for you. A police officer in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, is going viral after he tried to wrangle a gator in someone's front yard. He hopped on it and got thrown right off.
I mean, like immediately.
Yep.
Your boy was not just thrown off, but thrown off the front of the gator. That's the dangerous part.
Yep.
Thrown off the front of the gator, barrel rolled out of it, and the poor gator wanted nothing to do with anybody.
Right. You notice when he got thrown off, because there's video out there. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The gator's just staring at him after he threw him off, thinking, homeboy,
Just
no.
leave me be. Just leave
I'm
me
thinking
be.
the gator would have went after him, but no. And then, what was it? He tried to go after him with a trash can? Whatever. God knows what the trash can could have
The second
did.
thing he tried to do was grab the towel that he was trying to use to cover the gator's head. But that, I don't know, that never works.
No, it's not a cat.
Right.
Like you're taking your cat to
or a bird.
You
put
the
the-
dentist,
you know.
the veterinarian, for its checkup, and you throw a towel on the cat to try to get it from not clawing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Not a 14-foot alligator.
No. And this was a big old gator. This was, 14 might be a bit much. It was the length. The gator was the length of the width of a single car garage.
That's
because
massive.
you could see it when it started to walk around in front of the house. It got in front of the garage right there, and it covered the whole garage. So from
You know what's the
left
best
to right.
part about it? He would walk maybe an inch, plop down.
Yeah.
Get up, walk an inch, plop down.
Lazy ass gator. Lazy ass gator for sure. Those are your top stories in trending. Got to remind you about the folks over at 180 Pros, 180pros.com, 180pros.com. Do you have an IT provider, and are you satisfied with that? Would you rather an IT partner? Would you rather someone who provides you with simplified billing, like a one-page invoice from your IT company? Can you even imagine? How about a local number to call, 225-330-2200? If something goes wrong, and I mean your entire system goes down, and you need somebody on site, not somebody that can dial in because, again, the system's down. The whole network's down. You need somebody on site, then you need somebody who's here in town. Do you want? You see the problems on 10 this morning, right? I mean, do you want your livelihood in the hands of interstate traffic? This is where 180 Pros comes into play here, because they've got all the latest and greatest with the tech. Of course, the cybersecurity is top of mind, but their success is based off of your success. Learn more at 180pros.com. Trey Godfrey's coming up next. Yo, sorry for the confusion. I had you down the whole time.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry for the confusion. I had you down the whole time. Okay. Will Green from LABI normally does Mondays, and he's like, "Can we just push back by a day?" And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." Gotcha. And I just told him without even looking at my sheet. So
I saw him on the tweet, and then
yeah, that was my fault.
so my guy Ricky texted me. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm out of gas. I'll stop off, get some gas, head to the office, and I'm listening, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got Trey Godfrey. I'm like, oh shucks, let me.
So yeah, I'm texting back and forth with Ricky and Morgan and yes. 717, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. A little bit of change in the rundown here, and this was totally on me. We've had Trey Godfrey scheduled for this segment for some time now, and I promised it to Will Green as well. Will was nice enough to move back. He's going to join us at 8:05 to unpack the legislative session. Trey Godfrey's in the house right now from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership to break down the session from their perspective. Welcome back. How are you, sir?
All is well. Will, I appreciate you being flexible and giving me your time slot this morning.
Yeah, that was your time slot to begin with, so we did a little maneuvering, as it were. Hey, were you listening to Top Stories and Trending as you were coming in?
I parked as Top Stories and Trending was still on, so I caught half of it.
Did you hear the part about the grocery apps?
I was just parking when, so I heard that people at a discount can buy food that might be going bad.
Right. Surprise bags. So let me ask you this. Would you buy a surprise bag from Whole Foods?
All day.
Really?
Every day.
If it had like yesterday's salmon roll in it?
As long as it's edible and I won't end up in the emergency room with food poisoning or something, it is on.
I don't know. You leave fish out on the counter for a day? I don't know if I could do that.
Well, look, it's funny you mentioned that. So yesterday I bring tuna salad to the office. I'm always the first one there. I make coffee. I forget to put it in the refrigerator when I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Around 11 o'clock, it's time for lunch. I pull it out of my work bag. Now, question for you. Do I eat it or do I pass?
Ate it. Yeah.
All day.
And because yeah, you're right. Hey, question for you. Does tuna salad go spicy?
Of course it does.
So where are you getting your heat from?
Tony's.
Oh, man. Okay.
I'm a South Louisiana boy.
No.
It's Tony's all day.
No. I'm about to change your world.
Talk to me.
Okay. Get rid of the pickle relish. Go with Ragin' Cajun jalapeno relish.
Wow.
Blow your mind. It'll blow your mind.
That's brand new.
It will change your world.
And where do I buy such relish?
You know what? I don't have their website in front of me.
Gotcha.
Just look up Ragin' Cajun. You'll find their Mathern's has their products. You'll find the jalapeno relish in Mathern's. So
I'll try it out and let you know.
All right. Yes, it's good stuff. If I score a couple jars, I'll get you one.
Bet. That
awesome,
works.
Awesome. Trey Godfrey's in with us. We're doing more than just sharing tuna recipes, y'all. Before we get into the session, there's been some shakeups over at the Economic Partnership. I know y'all still have a long way to go, so set the table where we're at right now.
Absolutely. So Jason Newell, who is our Senior Vice President of Business Development, and I are serving as acting co-CEOs right now.
Okay.
The Executive Committee and the Board are going to do a search for a new leader. That is somewhere in its early stages. And so over the next several weeks and months, we'll see.
Okay. But it is business as usual within the office. So, sine die yesterday afternoon. Let's talk about it.
God bless. Yes.
Yeah, I know. What were some of your bigger takeaways from the session?
So, every session has its theme. And oftentimes you recognize what the theme of any session is going to be pretty early on. This session, not so much.
Right.
And it was really chill. The vibe in the building was good. Spirits were high and business was going. And this was up until probably just past the halfway point. And that's when we learned really, really quickly, like all of a sudden what the theme of session was going to be. We kind of thought it would be the reform of the Orleans Parish Judiciary.
Yeah.
And then Calais came down.
Yeah.
And that changed the tone immediately. So down the line, years from now, when people talk about 2026 legislative session, that's what they're going to talk about is maps and Orleans Parish Judiciary.
So when we went into session, we all thought everyone would be talking about workforce and carbon capture.
Yes.
Carbon capture turned out to be a really quiet, if you're on the pro-carbon capture side, a quiet win.
So absolutely. It was quiet for those of us who are in the economic development space or in the industrial manufacturing space. It was loud in the coalitions that were built to try to push back against the anti-carbon capture legislation. Now, workforce 100%. Had things not moved the way they had, workforce would be the number one story coming out of session because you saw so many really, really good workforce bills dealing with both education and how we move people into coherent pipelines into where high-wage, high-demand jobs are.
So in but that all got done like super early.
Most of that was done really, really early. So a lot of those bills ran in the first 2 to 3 weeks of session. So for instance, ours, and I always talk about Senate Bill 376, Senator Mizell, the Learn and Earn Act, as we call it, had a really early hearing. It was signed by the governor, believe it or not, 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's about the time the Calais came down. I mean, well, maybe a little slightly after, but the Learn and Earn bill was a big one. Talk to just kind of expound upon what it will look like in real life.
Absolutely. So you and I have had a chance to talk about this a little bit, but a business can enter into a cooperative endeavor with a school district such that that business can co-locate on a public high school campus and be staffed by students who derive internship and academic credit and are paid for that experience that they're working inside of that business on the high school campus.
So, which I love this because it's not like an off-site internship where one of the things that I love about it is the fact that it's not out of sight, out of mind to the rest of the students.
That's right.
It's on campus. It's there for them to see their fellow students earning, see their fellow students working towards goals, working towards a paycheck, getting it done. I mean, just that when you have an off-campus internship, it's out of sight, out of mind. This is fully present. Now, one of the questions that I don't know that we've seen an answer to yet is who gets to decide what business?
The business and the school district can work in one of two ways. The business approaches the school district and says, we have interest in this, or the school district finds or goes out and recruits businesses that make sense for their area, their location, their students, the pipelines that they're trying to build. Or I guess there is a third option as organizations like us look very proactively to try to make those connections.
And which would be great. And we're talking about anything from, I know credit unions have come up, something as simple as a PJ's Coffee, which you tell me what high school does not need a coffee shop, right?
You're right about that.
So,
and look, Walker High School is an amazing model. Superintendent Jody Purcell in Livingston Parish has a phenomenal thing going. But Walker High School always comes up in these conversations, and yes, they do have that PJ's Coffee staffed by students.
Darn right they do. That's I'm a big fan of PJ's Coffee.
Understood.
So. What else is a big win?
So workforce sticking to that point, Secretary Susie Showen over at Louisiana Works has some legislation go through. There's been a really big conversation about workforce entities around the state and how those workforce investment boards actually operate. And there was one really big workforce bill that would consolidate the workforce investment board and have one statewide board that would have oversight over the workforce entities around the state. There are some very, very high-performing workforce entities and some that are kind of not so much. And so they aim to bring a lot of coherence into our workforce system, develop stronger ties with organizations like ours and LCTCS schools. And so that's something that we'll look to stay really, really close to try to help problem solve moving forward. But Secretary Showen, Secretary Bourgeois over at LED are taking a whole of government approach along with the governor's office and the rest of their cabinet secretaries such that one works with another in these agencies instead of the right hand not knowing what the left is doing.
Right.
All not only knowing what each other is doing, but bringing their own staff resources to bear such that they're all working together to create a better state. Is
this more follow-up off of last year where we saw last year there was a big push to not make being unemployed a full-time job. That's my oversimplification of it. But if you got to go to this office on this day and this office on that day, and I know Susie Showen did a lot of work to simplify that to where you could spend a lot more time looking for a new job than keeping up with your benefits on the other end. Is this a follow-up to that?
This is kind of a natural next step to that entire philosophy about having one door.
One door was the theme last. Yeah.
Exactly. So make it as easy as possible in how can government, in serving its citizens, make citizens' lives better and easier by doing their jobs slightly differently. And so this one big workforce bill deals with the Workforce Innovation Act in those workforce investment boards, ensuring that they all work similarly. And one of the big things we see out of high-performing workforce investment boards is who their primary client is. And when the primary client is the business and the product that they're bringing to the businesses is the talent, is the people who need to be employed, having a business-facing outlook like that makes a really big difference in that ecosystem, serves businesses, serves hiring.
Just very cool. So Susie Showen had herself a good session.
Oh,
I mean, she's back-to-back now, so... we got about 3 minutes left. Give me, stepping away from workforce, what else did the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership have its eye on that either did or did not cross the finish line?
One of the things that did not cross the finish line, and this is partly because of MAPS and some legislators that had to pull their attention away from MAPS. There was one bill that Senator Klein-Peter was running that dealt with mineral rights. That we had our eye on. We'd had conversations about it in the past. He ended up having to park that one because of so much attention that had to be paid to the maps. But hopefully next session, that one comes back around. It really becomes highly technical at this point. But what that bill would essentially do at the end of the day is unlock more opportunities for economic development sites.
Okay.
The state, so stop me if you've heard this before, but Louisiana is the only state in the nation that does certain things certain ways. One of
what?
Those, exactly. One of those has to do with mineral rights.
Okay.
And so Senator Klein-Peter's bill would have changed the way in the time frame that mineral rights can be kept by a property owner when they sell that property. And so we hope that bill comes back 2027 session.
Wait, when you sell the property, you keep the mineral rights?
For a period of time.
Interesting.
And so the way that we do it in the state of Louisiana, and get him on to talk more about that. Because,
yeah, that's going to happen.
Yep. Once he talks you through it, you're going to say, oh, boy, we've been an outlier for so long to the detriment of what could be happening here. So he'll give you more of the ins and outs of it. Again, a little bit sad that he wasn't able to push it, but completely understandable with everything else he had on his plate.
So what happens post-session? We got literally 1 minute to go. What happens post-session? You all get to work on kind of recapping that which got left on the cutting room floor, or start preparing for next year?
And we'll start preparing for next year starting about next week. So we're hosting a few members of the Capital Region delegation for a listening session in a couple of weeks. And then after that, going to do a lot of work with the delegation, hopefully even having a retreat and then something a little bit more social and fun. But how do we coalesce as an organization to be the strongest delegation at the Capitol? We've got some work to do there.
He is Trey Godfrey from the Greater Baton Rouge Economic Partnership. Greatly appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. We got news, traffic, weather, and then we're going to talk hurricane season with Dr. Jill Trepanier coming up in just a little bit. She's over at LSU, by the way. In the meanwhile, got to remind you, Rad Dad is back, y'all, officially back. Citizens Bank and Trust brings you Dad's favorite gifts ever, a Weber Traveler Grill plus accessories, thanks to Goodwood Hardware, a steak dinner from Chris's Specialty Foods, and a Manly Bayou bundle from Hawk Soap, all just for showing us your Rad Dad doing dad things. Sign up at talk1073.com.
I got to sign up for that.
The mineral deal.
So,
Do I need to turn them on?
yes, please. segment for me.
Have a good day. Is Jill calling me?
I don't know. Let me check my emails. Yeah, no way I was screwing him over 2 months in a row. You're calling her. Am I still off? And make sure I'm pronouncing her last name right, please. Thank you.
Hi, is this Dr. Jill? Hey, good morning. Yes, this is Talk 1073. Good morning. I wanted to ask you, how do you pronounce your last name? Trepanier.
Trepanier. Okay.
You got to lean into the Yankees, she says, a little bit.
Okay.
She said it ain't going to hurt her feelings if you want to say it the way you want to say it. Yes, indeed. Okay, well, we are coming back into, we're coming back out of break, and when I'll put you on hold, Brian's going to pick up on his end, okay? Okay, no problem.
736 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Talking hurricane season in exactly 60 seconds. Need to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com. LandmarkBankLA.com. They are a community bank and have been for well over 100 years now, since 1897. So, like, literally half of America's life. Landmark Bank has been a community bank serving their community. They're growing in the number of communities that they're in around Baton Rouge. But they remain true to that mission of being a community bank. And what do you get when you have a community bank? Well, you get a banker. And what you really get these days is you get a banker without the loss of any of the tech on the back end. They're capable of pulling off or doing anything that the big banks do. Only difference is you have someone that you shake hands with, sit down with, and map out where you want to be, as opposed to just being a line item somewhere in Midtown Manhattan. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. Hit the About Us tab, find the locations. If you see one in your community, get yourself a banker. LandmarkBankLA.com. Whether you're talking business or personal banking, they've got you covered on both fronts. Okay, hurricane season started yesterday, and it's supposed to be a little bit lighter this year, but I want to get the nuts and bolts of it, so we welcome Dr. Jill Trepanier from LSU on with us. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
No, I'm doing very well on this end as well. So we've seen a couple seasons in a row where, I mean, you don't want to talk to the pitcher in the middle of the no-hitter, but we've been doing all right here in Louisiana. What's 2026 stacking up to look like?
I think it's stacking up seasonally to look pretty calm, but I always like to remind people that it only takes one storm, so I'll get that in the front right away. But the season itself looks to be a bit below average. We've got certainly hot sea surface temperatures to help aid anything that does form, but it shouldn't form very much. We got vertical wind shear that's going to be really strong throughout the Atlantic, likely because of El Nino. And so looking to be kind of a calm year again.
Walk me through what the National Hurricane Center, what NOAA is predicting as far as numbers are concerned.
So it looks to be about a max of 14 named storms, really a range between 8 and 14. which is pretty low compared to where we've been. The average is about 14. So the fact that we would be in that range of having anywhere near something less than that, like 7, 8, 9, is pretty low, actually, which is pretty great. As far as major hurricanes go, something more like, which is a category 3 on that scale or above, more like 1, 2, 3 throughout the entire season, which looks good compared to some of our previous years like 2020, 2021, things like that.
Talk with Dr. Jill Trepanier from LSU about this hurricane season. I want to talk a little bit about, if we could, is when we talk about 14 up to 14 named storms. Have we always had the level of activity that we've seen in recent years, or is it a matter of our tracking has gotten better over time?
So it's a combination of many things, right? So the number one that you just said, this idea that some years have more, some years have less. It's just a bit of a cycle, though we can speak a little bit more to the idea of things like warmer ocean water and what that might do to the storm that does form. But as far as that seasonality and number, that's pretty common to have a cyclical pattern because of things like that El Nino Southern Oscillation, which is commonly just referred to as El Nino. And so then you also have the increase in forecast tracking, which is phenomenal. The fact that the National Hurricane Center and their team can build out models 5 days, 6 days in advance that tell us pretty much almost to the T where it's going is incredible. So it's a bit of both of those worlds. We're paying more attention. We're able to see more. But those that do form, we are seeing more major systems. And that has a lot to do with just warmer oceans and things like that. The more heat that they've got available to them when they do form, they tend to get pretty strong pretty fast.
So I always look at, storm forms off the coast of Africa, then just shoots up the Atlantic Ocean and never bothers anybody. They call them fish storms, right?
Yes, I love the fish hurricane. Yep.
So, but was there a time where those weren't even counted?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. When you think about what we're able to see now with satellite, certainly there were many storms that we missed in what I like to call just the main open Atlantic, where they're not messing with anybody but the fish, as you said. And when you think about ship tracking back in the day, right, where the majority of people traveled goods across the Atlantic Ocean, where those intercepted with storms, there was notes, right? There was something written in somebody's, if it survived, journal that we were able to add to our list. But stuff that was really in that zone where nobody sailed, nobody noticed. And I think that's important to note, right? So it's not always about just the number. It's about that intensity signature. So I always like to make Louisianans aware of our homegrown storm. It doesn't have to be one that forms all the way off by Africa to mess with us, right? So kind of keep that in mind.
Well, because we've seen an increase in those in recent years where you'll have the storm pop up just out of nowhere in the Caribbean and then shoot itself straight north towards us.
That's right. And so that's when I like to think of that intensity signature. We are not as good at tracking, or rather modeling intensity, as we are tracking where they go. The things that control where a storm goes are not the same things that control how strong a storm gets. They're kind of two separate things. I like to think of it as like the framework puzzle is what helps to build the different storms that exist in the season, but the individual daily stuff, like how hot is it and what's that wind shear doing in that moment, can help to really make a storm very strong. And so when we think about those homegrown, the Caribbean and the Gulf, they have so much hot water. The shear is usually pretty low anyway. And so when we do see them form, it's a bigger threat for us here in the Gulf region because we need to be mindful of how they can go really quickly, really fast. Yeah.
So, and that brings us back around to the water temperature part that you mentioned earlier on. Does the higher level of water temperature, does it make storms or does it make storms stronger?
Ooh, good question. It makes storms stronger. Warm ocean water does not make a hurricane, right? Like it does not, it's not the only thing. There has to be it's like you're making gumbo, right? And you throw two ingredients in, that just because they're part of the gumbo doesn't make it the gumbo. You have to actually put it all together. So the sea surface temperature and the depth of that warm water, kind of how deep it goes into the ocean, play a huge role in once the storm is there. And it is one of the main ingredients to get it there, but not the only one.
Right.
So if it's there and it forms, that's when it really can amp up that, what we think of as a heat engine. It's like the amount of energy going in and the amount of energy coming out. It can make it significantly stronger.
Okay, so let me follow up with that. Is the how? if you got to get like total nerd scientific on me, that's fine. But like, how does warm water make wind faster?
Ooh, okay. I'm going to try to keep this as light in the physics as I can while still making it make sense.
Okay.
So in the world of why the wind blows, you have to have a temperature difference. Okay, so that's like the rule number one for why the wind blows is a temperature difference.
Okay.
So if you have a really, really warm ocean water surface and then an upper atmosphere that's a bit cooler, right? Because it gets colder as you go up in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in that space of a big difference, all by itself, a wind starts to form. The more that wind blows, the more that warm ocean water gets affected by the wind, right? Think waves and sea spray and all that good stuff. And all that does is put warm water into the atmosphere, which helps turn that into a cloud, which helps turn it into rain. So it's kind of like the more that wind blows over warm ocean water, the more that available energy gets transferred into the atmosphere and can turn into a big old thundercloud. I tried to make that simple. I hope it was.
No, that totally was. That was fantastic. We're talking with Dr. Jill Trepanier from LSU about this hurricane season, which actually physically got underway yesterday. I want to talk a little bit, if we could, about the parameters of a hurricane season. Normally in Louisiana, it's mid to late season that we start to see things come our way. What other factors affect where storms go on the early part versus the later part?
Oh, good question. So there's a few major things I like to think of it as hurricane highways. That's how I like to think of it. The major spaces that hurricanes take up, and there's a really large circulation system. Think big wind pattern that spins over a really large area of the North Atlantic. We sometimes refer to it as the Bermuda High or the subtropical high more broadly. It's a big zone of high pressure that steers where a storm goes. And so it's throughout that main development, that place that you were talking, Africa over to the Caribbean, that space tends to see the bottom or southern area of that highway. That big upper atmospheric river is one way to think about it. This idea of where they go later in the season, some of that has to do with just the conditions that exist within the Gulf. By August and September, if you've ever been, I'm sure you have, gone swimming in the Gulf in that time, it feels like bath water.
Yeah.
So it is so incredibly hot that really with the reduced wind shear, which is that choppiness over the ocean, which also tends to die out over those later months of a season, especially in the Gulf, most of it is that thing I said earlier, in order to get a wind difference, you need temperature difference, and everything is hot by August and September. So there really is no major difference across space. So everything kind of calms down. That ocean water tends to feed that storm strength, as I described. So we get lots of pop-up thunderstorms. All it takes is one pop-up thunderstorm with enough energy and enough calm environment to turn into a hurricane for us here in the Gulf and on the Gulf Coast. So it's kind of like two major areas, right? One of that main space and then one that's more close to home, which doesn't need that large amount of real estate, mostly because it has the conditions perfect where it is. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Got just a couple more for Dr. Jill Trepanier as we're talking about our hurricane season, which got underway yesterday and runs through the end of November. As time has gone on, the science has gotten better and the accuracy has gotten better, but there's still not 100%. Or is it even possible to get to 100% when you're talking about anything that's of a predictive nature?
Oh, wow. That's a fantastic question. And I actually teach, university level thought theory question classes on that because it's an interesting one, right?
Right.
It's almost a personality response to what a person can say, because I'm of the mind that no, we can never get to absolutely 100% because of the chaotic nature that the planet provides. And I use a silly example in my classes. I say you never know how many people are going to sneeze on a given day, and sneeze causes winds to blow, and it might be small, but a little bit can make a big difference. And if you've ever heard of the butterfly effect, which was put out by Edward Lorenz, old meteorologist a long time ago, and said that, a butterfly will flap its wings in one place and cause a tornado somewhere else. You might have heard that before.
Yep.
And so this idea of can we get to 100%, some people will say yes, absolutely. With technology and with enough data, we can get to 100% accuracy. I'm of the mind that even the best of the best will still only get to 99.9. So I think it's a little bit of a personality question.
Awesome. One more before we get you out of here. And that is, what are you looking for during the hurricane season? I know what we all see on the weather, what we see, God forbid anybody actually watches the Weather Channel, but I know like what we see from our local meteorologists and whatnot, but what are you keeping an eye on all year long?
So all year long, my main thing is to just pay attention to clusters of thunderstorms in otherwise calm environments. So what that means is I'm looking for pop-up storms anywhere throughout that tropical or subtropical zone. So that means basically from us all the way over to Africa and as far north as the Carolinas, kind of watching in that space, right? Thinking about small clusters of thunderstorms that will form in environments that are already hot, which most of it is already, but then environments that are calm surrounding them. And so you can look at things on like different apps that you might have, like Windy is one of my favorites that you can download, but that one allows you, it's free, but allows you to look at different layers of the atmosphere. So for those big weather nerds out there that really like to pay attention, find yourself a good free app, and there's lots of ways to monitor those conditions. And then I pay very close attention to the homegrown stuff, as you might imagine, right? We're on the radio right now, and it's a calm day. When it's not a calm day, it can be kind of intense trying to make sure I talk to as many people as possible. So that's the other part, is trying to stay informed so that I can help everybody else be informed.
She is Dr. Jill Trepanier. Going to hang on to your phone number throughout the season. Thank you so much for some very informative minutes.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You do the same. We're at, coming up on 7:51 at Talk 107.3 FM. Take a quick break, and on the back end of that break, we will have This Day in History. Will Green coming up at 8:05. Also, next hour, State Representative Paul Sawyer at 8:15, and then Congressman Troy Carter at 8:35. We'll break it right now on Talk 107.3 over here on Talk 107.3. Flip it in the back, in the back. Oh. Remember, we skipped your money now at 6:50.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
Yeah. We got mud. We got wind. I mean, we're nerding out today. This has been fun. 7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming up in just a little bit. Hour 3 will bring us Will Green at 8:05, Paul Sawyer at 8:15, and Congressman Troy Carter at 8:35. Right now, though, it's time for This Day in History.
All right, going all the way back to 1803, France, Robert Livingston, a New Orleans native and key negotiator of the Louisiana Purchase, urged President Thomas Jefferson to quickly ratify the Louisiana Purchase Agreement before Napoleon could change his mind.
Okay.
Didn't even know that all that was going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes, all the drama.
I mean, we were a pretty good deal.
Yep.
Well, I mean, he pawned us to pay for the war, to pay for his war.
Right.
So, yeah, Napoleon sold us off like he was,
like we were the
going into Pawn Stars.
Yep.
I got all this land,
Let's see. Jumping ahead to the year 1924. I thought this was cool because I'm Native American myself, but President Calvin Coolidge signed the Indian Citizenship Act, granting U.S. citizenship to Native Americans born in the U.S.
Okay.
Woohoo.
Very cool.
1928, the Kraft Phoenix Cheese Company introduced Velveeta cheese nationwide. So from 1928, that early on, we were making, what is it, our homemade mac and cheese at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And our queso dip with the Rotel. Love it.
Rotel, meat or no meat?
I got to have the meat. And I got to have chorizo.
Really?
I got to have chorizo.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like about chorizo, it makes it oily. Always oily. But, man, it's good.
Okay.
You go meat or no meat, Brian?
Meat.
Yep, I'm with you. In 1953, the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II was so significant for many reasons, but I will say this. It was the first major royal event televised worldwide.
Yep.
In 1962, Ray Charles, he had a cover of Don Gibson, I Can't Stop Loving You. He is known as Ray Charles as soul, blues, but this was his first ever crossover album that hit #1 on Billboard. Never knew that Ray Charles dipped into country music.
Me neither.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In 1973, Live and Let Die premiered, introducing Roger Moore as James Bond.
Okay.
1981.
Live and Let Die, of course, I believe part of that was filmed in Louisiana?
I think so. Ain't that the one that was filmed here? I'm more than positive it was.
Yes. I think so.
1981, Nintendo released the arcade game Donkey Kong. Had to throw that one in there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What else you got, Brian?
This day in 1997, Timothy McVeigh was convicted for the Oklahoma City bombing.
Okay.
And The Wire premiered on this day in 2002.
Let's see. Jumping ahead to birthdays, we have Andy Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, you know what? Believe it or not, that is my only notable one here. Who else you got?
Dennis Haysbert turns 72 today. Wayne Brady turns 54. Scrolling back up. No, that was it. That was all I had.
All right. Notable deaths on this day. You know what? I don't really have any. I mean, I have the Yankee player, the New York Yankees legend, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
How do I say his last name?
It's Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig. I'm making sure I'm saying it right. Just making sure I'm saying it right. Okay. He passed away in 1941 on this day. Today, National, you know what, Global Running Day. Let's go with it.
That's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow. I don't have one for today. What you got?
I got National Rocky Road Day.
Ooh, let's take it.
All right. Done and done. 7:59, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got news coming up in 20 seconds from right now. Coming up in our next hour, like we said, we got Will Green, we got Paul Sawyer, we got Troy Carter. We got a lot to get to, unpacking the legislative session and protecting Louisiana shrimp. It's all coming up next. Yeah.
You got headsets, Brian?
I do. Oh.
Hey,
I saw that.
say we're ready. Say what we need to do.
All right. Are they hearing me? Yeah, I'm talking. So hopefully I'm not on the air. Am I in program? I'm not in program one. Good, good, good. Then I'll just keep on talking because.
150 drones.
I hear.
The main targets
Yeah.
included Ukraine's capital
Main-
Kyiv and cities including
Talk about
Dnipro, Kharkiv,
targeting
and
Ukraine.
Zaporizhia.
Fox's Jonathan
Got it.
Savage.
Yeah,
It
there's
is
Fox News.
primary day in
Got
6
him.
states with 2 candidates and
We're
2
good to go.
California races getting the most
All right.
attention.
There you go. All right. I'll take it. Man, going really good. Yeah. Yeah, putting together a legislator package because they expanded legislator. It's going to be a 3-day thing now, so I'm going to be there. I'm going to do an afternoon show on Thursday and a morning show on Friday.
When is this? Where is this?
Middle of August, back end of August. From one of the 2 casinos. I think it's at L'Auberge in Lake Charles. Yeah, putting together that package. And then I would do more from Legislator, but I got to be at Louisiana Travel Association Summit the 2 days prior to that. So.
Whatever happened to your boy Eric? Is he coming in?
Eric Erickson. So we were supposed to do something in the middle of spring, but session got everything wrapped up. So we're going to work on putting. Yeah. That's what we're going to work on.
Good getting him.
Yeah.
I want to meet him anyway.
Same.
He's on Lafayette too.
Mm.
They got him on Lafayette from there with the deal. He's on after me. He's on 12 to 2. He carried 2 hours.
Okay.
Carry all 3.
Well, yeah, we got him 4 to 6 here. So.
Had to do 12 to 2, and then Carol Ross came back, who was really good. She's only had 2. She said it with me before. She used to sit in all the time. And there was a brouhaha there. Mark Poe played a clip, and you listened to it, and it said F-U-C-K.
Wow.
What they did with Carol, it wasn't Carol's fault. But so Carol goes in a meeting, we had a different program director, and for some reason, and Carol makes this money, okay? For some reason, they hauled her in there and they said they suspended her for a couple of days. Then they said, we're going to suspend you a whole week. And she said, well, you're not suspending me. And remember, Carol Ross is 77. She looks younger than all of us put together. She's just one of those, okay? Energy like you never seen.
Carol.
Really great lady. So guess what? She's already made her money. Matter of fact, KPAP, her and her husband sold KPAP. They the ones built KPAP.
Carol who?
Carol Ross. Her husband was Ron Gomez in the legislature.
So they were just going to suspend her. And
They were suspended for another 2 days, and she looked at them, and nobody had her back. And she said, you're not suspending me. I quit. Y'all can have it. She walked out. Well, she walked out because she's made her money. Me and you can't walk out. I would have to take my week suspension and just come back and say, hey, I'm sorry, and move on. She said no. So what happened was she left and went to, it really not competition. There's another station over there. They don't show up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then she left them, but the timing was everything changed over there, so they brought her back. Which I begged her when she went in not to do that. I said, don't quit. But she just had to.
Delta, didn't she?
She went to Delta.
Because I was like, I know she didn't go to Cumulus.
No, she went to Delta, but and then the station was always a small signal and all that stuff.
As well.
She's really good.
Talking to 7-3.
And she sits in for me sometimes. But
Hey, we're about to
since
come
she
to
came
you,
back,
okay?
I think I let her sit in once.
Okay.
But she's really good. She makes money. When you're that old and you've been there your whole life, she knows every business.
Yeah. Easy.
And so she makes money. And so they put her on an hour, and they're waiting to see with the other local program. The guy's got a big lawsuit against him. Who's the former mayor. His name is Josh Gillett. It's a big lawsuit.
Oh yeah.
We don't know how that's going to turn out, but Josh is on 3 to 5. If something happens with Josh with the program, she probably will go to 2 hours. But it's a lot of if. So whatever happens. But anyway, Eric would be on the 3 hours, but that's why he's not because I go to 12.
Right.
It's all good, man.
Speaking of you going to 12, when I go to Louisiana Travel Association, I might borrow an hour from you that day because I do 2 shows in one day. I do my show and then I do a midday show.
So you take like 11.
I might grab that. Yeah.
No. You got to do 2. And I never get in the way of radio stations. Do what you got to do.
Well, I'm gonna see about pushing it to noon to 2, but it's got to fit their schedule first. So.
Just let me know you're doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still going to do my hours.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. 806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing, starting off the 8 o'clock hour at 77 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we broadcast live from the 180 Pros studio. We got Will Green on the hotline from LABI. Before we get to him, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. You know where to find them. Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center if you're on campus, which, by the way, it's summertime. Great time to swing by the on-campus location because, you know, the students aren't there. So if your commute takes you up and down Nicholson Drive, pop on in. They're directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. Knock out your groceries. Knock out what you want to grab for dinner. They've got you covered on that front. Also downtown, you know all about that location. And then, of course, Mathern's at Kenilworth. It's Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth. This was the old Kenilworth supermarket. Then it became something else. Well, now Mathern's is back at Kenilworth. Full-service grocery store. As it is grilling season, you want to get in there, go in the back, and check out some of the specialty Louisiana meats that they've got going on in the back. All kinds of Louisiana products all through the store, but specifically the Louisiana choice meats. We got you covered on that front with Mathern's. All right. Will Green from LABI is on the hotline. How are you?
Hey, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, thank you for being flexible. I don't know what I was thinking, promising you 7:15 because Trey was on the books forever. So my bad on that. Thank you for moving.
All good, Brian. I'll come on anytime. You know that.
I appreciate it. Sine Die yesterday. Give me your immediate takeaway of the overall session.
Well, Brian, you know, we set out this session to try
Wait,
to.
I'm sorry, Will, stop. We got a really, really bad echo there. Is it a speaker?
I lost you for a second, Brian.
So, yeah, we got a really, really bad echo there. Are we on speakerphone?
Hang on, Brian.
All right. We got Will Green from LABI on with us. It was a horrible, horrible echo. So I think we got him now. We there? Will? Tell you what, let me drop him back on hold real quick. See if you got him over there while Will's on hold. You know what? I actually need to remind you about the folks over at Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is their website. IndustryMakes.org is the voice for industry within Louisiana. We're talking in our first hour with the Department of Energy, moving in to really take advantage of some of the minerals that are in Louisiana's soil in St. John the Baptist Parish. Well, you know the next step is someone's going to protest, right? Well, who's going to speak up on behalf of industry as they move in to get that done? That's where Industry Makes comes in. Making sure that a combined voice is there for industry, making sure that the manufacturing sector is spoken for, and that they offer up a co-branding toolkit. They offer up real facts about what goes on in the industry. Learn more at industrymakes.org. All right, now we're reconnected with Will. How are you? You good?
Brian,
yeah, much better. All right, sorry about that. Your big picture takeaway of the session was what?
Yeah, so look, we set out to strengthen cradle-to-career pathways, create a fair, predictable, and transparent legal climate, and then protect Louisiana's position as a leader for innovative energy investment. And I think within each one of those three main priorities that our members asked us to go down to the legislature and prioritize, I think we had wins within each one of those buckets.
All right, well, start with the top bucket. What did you see there?
Yeah, so look, I think in anticipation of the $100 billion in economic investment that we've got coming, definitely in a bipartisan manner, there were significant wins within the strengthening cradle-to-career pathways bucket for sure. You know, definitely want to highlight House Bill 549 by Stephanie Baralt, which creates the Bayou Growth Opportunity Workforce Program. This is a competitive, employer-driven training initiative designed to help Louisiana businesses quickly build the skilled talent pipeline required to sustain growth and capitalize on what we talked about, right? This $100 billion in economic investment coming to Louisiana. We've talked about it before. This is a program modeled after Michigan's Going Pro Talent Fund, where in Michigan they've trained about 230,000 workers, supported about 8,500 businesses, and awarded about $310 million in training grants. What House Bill 549 does is it sets up the mechanism. It sets up this fund. And so over the next year, we're going to be talking about ways to actually put dollars into that fund, whether that's through some federal matches or whether that's through some private entities or some public-private partnerships. And so this is something that we're really excited about, upskilling and reskilling. It'll be employer-identified workforce needs in partnership with Louisiana Works for targeted training programs. And so that's one piece of legislation that we're excited about. Another one, Senate Bill 305 by Senator Rick Edmonds, will improve career alignment. This is something that LABI worked with Senator Edmonds on. Will better match what schools teach with what employers need. And so that students are better educated to needs-based jobs, so that they're trained, they come out understanding the skills that they need, and so that they're ready day one, because our members are telling us right now that the workforce that they're hiring are just not necessarily ready day one.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Senator Edmonds' bill will do is it'll better align training and education with the needs of careers. And so these are a couple of bills that we're incredibly excited about, but no doubt that workforce and strengthening cradle to career pathways was an overwhelming success this legislative session.
No, absolutely. And then we were talking with Trey Godfrey earlier. It got done early too. It's not just that it got done. It got done with, I don't want to say consensus, but as close as you're going to see in a state legislature.
Yeah, certainly in a bipartisan manner. A lot of these bills move through with little opposition, with overwhelming support. And look, we had Representative Ken Brass, Representative Dennis Bamberg, Senator Edmonds, and so you had Senate bills, House bills carried on both sides of the aisle, and so just a ton of excitement around the opportunity to upskill and reskill and just about all the different opportunities coming to Louisiana. We want to keep our best and brightest here. We want to train them. We want to keep them here, and we want to continue to wrap our arms around the momentum here in Louisiana.
What was Bucket 2?
So Bucket 2 was to continue to create a fair, predictable, and transparent legal environment in Louisiana. And so some success there, but as you know, Brian, we talked throughout the year, not the overwhelming success that we saw in the workforce arena. We did get a couple of workers' comp bills across the finish line. We hope the governor will sign those. House Bill 456 by Representative Chenevert is one of those bills. It will correct an imbalance within Louisiana's workers' compensation system, giving employers the same ability as employees to file disputes, investigate claims, and seek judicial review while continuing to pay benefits. That's important. Mm-hmm. And so it was common sense reform to promote fairness, transparency, and better informed decision-making for all parties. And so this just balances the scales a little bit in workers' comp. That's House Bill 456. That's on the governor's desk now. We hope he signs that. And then Senate Bill 408 by Senator Brock Myers updates and revises Louisiana's outdated, unbalanced workers' compensation medical fee schedule. And then hopefully it'll rein in excessive litigation as well. And so those are two really important workers' comp bills. As we talked about, despite being one of the safest states in the country, we have some of the highest cost for workers' comp in the country. We keep people out of work longer. We pay higher medical than most other states in the country, and that's because we haven't updated our fee schedule since the early 90s. And so Senator Myers' bill will go a long way towards modernizing a lot of our outdated workers' comp fee schedule and and will do a lot to reduce litigation. Both these bills will. And so both of those bills are before the governor now. We hope he'll sign those. Several measures, unfortunately, in the tort reform arena stalled over in the Senate as they've done in past years. But we're not going to give up on that, Brian, especially as we enter into an election year next year.
No, absolutely not going to give up on it. But it's important to remember things like the workers' comp area, because often when we're looking at, Louisiana as a judicial hellhole, we forget how many different categories fall under that. And if you can, make some headway over here, and then next year get back around to tort reform, and then the next year you get back around to another part of it, you're not running the fatigue all the way through on the same topic. You're not, going back to the same over and over. There's movement.
No, that's a good point. Look, because conversations changed, bills got amended, solutions to problems became available, and so they weren't just the same bills. Representative Bamberg created a care account to ensure future medical awards are used specifically for legitimate long-term medical care needs.
Yeah.
That was a unique bill that he filed this year. It was before the House, and it got out of committee. Unfortunately, like I said, it stalled before it got to the Senate. But that was a unique bill that hadn't been heard before. That would have been unique to Louisiana. The conversation started. A lot of questions got asked. Some got answered. Some did not. That's why it stalled. But I expect to see that bill again next year, and we'll keep working on it.
Will Green with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. I know we're not even half done with the recap, but we're just straight up out of time for this segment. Let's get you back on real soon to continue where we're leaving off right now.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you as well. My goodness, that went super fast. Because the follow-up question is, how does it all tie back into LA Driven? So we'll pick it back up with Will at hopefully next Monday, if not sooner. Right now, though, we are due up for a break. When we come back from that break, we got State Rep Paul Sawyer walking in as we speak. He's next. Yo, man.
Will.
Yeah, I was
favorite constituent.
I was running a little long with him because he had a phone problem on the front end.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
And I also kind of screwed up the time frame as well. So everything I've done over the last 2 weeks has been a mess because I packed up and went to the teacher summit last week.
Yeah, that's right.
So everything I did was off of booking people was off of memory, and I effed everybody. So.
See, I thought you were just being creative. That was the artistic side of your brain.
That's I'm left-handed.
Well, and then also, there you go. Also, when I heard Trey this morning, I thought, oh, okay. Will was at Sunny Die Party last night.
No, that was 100% on me.
But
how did I not get an invite to that? Oh,
you know what? Honestly, I didn't get an invite to that. I just heard about it when we were leaving, and by the way, I didn't go because I wanted to be clear-eyed and bright-eyed, bushy-tailed for this morning.
I appreciate that, but I can fake it.
No. I didn't go to as many parties and stuff this year. I just didn't want to get it wrapped around the axle and that stuff. Part of me regrets it, though. Not because I want to go party, but I think it's so important to have that personal relationship with legislators, which I do better one-on-one, but you don't get that many opportunities. So
yeah, well, I try to show up for as many as I can that are on the formal calendar, but also respect the fact that no matter where I go, I'm going to be considered media.
Oh,
so it's just
sorry.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. But exactly. So I want to be informed and have good relationships and be able to build up background information, but I don't want to be intrusive.
Yeah.
Because legislators need a safe space to be legislators.
Hey, Squirrel, y'all were talking about expiration dates, and then y'all also talked about Velveeta.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how long we're willing to go on Velveeta.
I don't.
Oh yeah. I was like, wait, Velveeta's been around for that long.
Yeah, Velveeta and Twinkies.
It was all made at the same time.
Yeah,
so.
all this artificial.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Velveeta doesn't go bad. No, it doesn't. So, 8:20 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. State Representative Paul Sawyer is in with us. Would you buy a surprise bag from Whole Foods?
Oh, absolutely. But look, I'm the last person you want to ask. I mean, I would eat a roadside armadillo. I mean, I have no discretion in what I eat. And so, in fact, at home, I'm the garbage can.
You know, the great thing about an armadillo is it comes in its own bowl.
It does. That's right, you know. Where's the microwave when you need it?
Right. Oh, my goodness gracious. No, so we were talking earlier about was how people are trying to keep groceries more affordable, and that was one of the topics coming up. Was they have a number of apps now that get you half off your groceries by buying like surprise bags. You don't know what's in the bag.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in the bag until you pay the $10 for the whole bag, and then it's like, oh, look, we're going to unpack this like it's supermarket sweep.
Yeah, well, and I was listening earlier to Trey Godfrey, who I have just such high regard for, but I'm going to throw the yellow flag because while on the one hand he was saying that he's willing to eat most anything, dude, you do not bring salmon or tuna or any kind of ocean-going marine creature into the workplace. You just don't do it. That's a foul.
Well, no. Tuna salad does not hit the microwave.
Tuna salad.
Let me stand up for him here because tuna salad stays. I mean, you're not making a tuna melt.
I'm all for omega-3s, okay, but yeah, tuna still has its own. I'll just say fragrance. So.
Okay. All right. Well, when you throw it in the microwave, sure. Don't put your salmon in the microwave. Ugh. All right, too much messing around.
What were we talking about?
The session.
Yeah,
that's. Your first session's in the books. How was it?
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and not for the reasons that other people would think. You know, I'm a policy nerd. I love reading bills. I love understanding what people are trying to accomplish in bills and try to help them. I'm even more pleased to write and pass my own bills, and so and then really. It's going to shock some people, but there are some really intelligent, earnest legislators in that building, and I really enjoyed getting to know them, and we talked earlier off mic about building relationships.
Yeah,
and I think that building relationships is key to making Louisiana better. Understanding, because I may not like that representative, but that representative represents 50,000 people that put that person there for a reason, and look, also keep referencing Trey Godfrey. He mentioned earlier about getting the Capital Region delegation together and working on mutual priorities, mutual interests. And look, we are the biggest delegation in the state, and you would never know it.
Right.
We don't team well, and that's not to say we don't get along well, but we're not organized. We haven't unified around many subject matters, and so I think having the partnership bring us together as a catalyst for us to let's find a couple of things that we can work on. I think it would not only help the Capital Region, which has so many needs, but also the state. So.
Absolutely, and to see that kind of unity would be strong for the whole region.
Absolutely.
Now, that being said, though, you don't want it to be like the Capital Region is a fiefdom, and it would be Baton Rouge versus Lake Charles or Baton Rouge versus Shreveport. I don't want to slide down that path.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, going into next year, when I write my bills and I prepare for the next legislative session, I want to do so by partnering with one or more Capital Region delegation members, Republican, Democrat, black, white, whether it's one side of the parish, the other side of the parish. I want to have a partner on every bill that I work on. And I'm not going to limit that exclusively to the Capital Region, but my focus is the Capital Region as well as the state. And so every time I can have an opportunity to carry a bill with somebody else that we're co-writing together, I think it's going to be good for the region, but also for the state.
Got State Representative Paul Sawyer in with us. Talk to me just for a quick. We'll get some individual bills in a minute.
Sure.
But you walked in mid-session. I mean, not mid-session, but early in this. Things, class had started when you walked in.
Yeah, that's right. Things were going on already, and then I had to quickly hurry up and write and introduce my own bills. But a lot of the legislation, especially the top priority issues, whether it's the administration's top priorities or you just spoke to Will Green, LABI's top priorities, you name it, those were already mobilized. Those were already moving. And so I didn't get an opportunity to participate in those debates or attempt to amend or do whatever to help those bills. But look, we've talked about this before. The legislative process is my natural ecosystem. So it's not like, I've compared it to going from driving an automatic to a stick shift. It's fundamentally the same thing. There's just a different rhythm, different tempo to it, and I just had a couple of weeks to get used to that. But then once I did, it felt really natural. I felt really at home, and I got more involved, not just with my own bills, but with other members' bills. Trying to help them make their bills better or get their bills passed.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, there was just some bad legislation, and I had to do what I could to stop bad legislation from becoming law.
State Representative Paul Sawyer is in with us. All right, let's talk a little bit about what did get across the finish line. Fortified roofs got a new boost.
Yeah, so look, first of all, it is a big boost. We're going to double the fortified roof program. So right now there's about 4,500 more or less roofs that have been fortified through this program. We're going to double that with this tranche of $50 million. So East Baton Rouge Parish does not get to benefit directly from this. The parishes that are prioritized in this program are on the coast. That is those homes that are most at risk to wind damage,
right?
To hurricane damage. But look, we have this discussion with auto insurance as well. Is like if we're able to lower insurance, whether it's in a class of policyholders or a geographical area of the state, the risk pool, it's more acute in a localized area, but the risk pool is statewide. And so if we're gradually able to lower the risk pool, we are going to see some benefits. And look, with insurance, I think we're going to win this game by hitting singles and doubles. Obviously, I'd like us to hit some home runs. I see some bills out there, in previous sessions that would be home runs. But I think we're going to have to play this game winning singles and doubles. And fortified roof is I'll call that a double, maybe a triple.
All right. Well, on the homeowners insurance front,
Sure.
I would definitely call that a double. And the more we can get done, the more we can move north.
Right.
Like
right.
it's like I think we all understand. You got to start closest to the water.
Absolutely.
And then
that's where the risk is.
Right. And then move inland from there.
Insurance is risk management, and the risk is at the coast.
So is it possible long term? And I asked Tim Temple this the last week as well. Is it possible long term to keep that ball rolling, to have enough singles and doubles in a row to where you're moving guys around the bases and getting to I-10?
Are you talking about like the fortified program?
Yeah, for the fortified program.
Absolutely.
To keep it moving this way, because while the coast is most at need, we're not without need here.
Absolutely. I mean, look, all we have to talk about is Hurricane Gustav. We know what wind damage is, and Ida. We know what wind damage is. So the answer is yes. And so Commissioner Tim Temple, Insurance Chairman Gabe Furman, Senate Insurance Chairman Kirk Talbot, as well as other members like Representative Troy Hebert, they're working on creating other incentives, whether it's tax rebates or endorsements on your policies, other incentives that make getting a fortified roof more affordable statewide. So right now, the easiest thing to do, the simplest application of creating more fortified roofs is through the grant program. But there have to be other ways so that the rest of the state is getting to participate in a program, in a process that's going to make their homes safer, as well as their insurance premiums safer or lower, and which is going to benefit all of us.
State Representative Paul Sawyer with us for a couple more minutes. We'll get to a couple more, but we're going to have to completely unpack. You're going to get your back on again because there was so much going on. Flood protection, what got done on that front?
Good. We talk about this a lot, whether it's my day job or my legislative job. We passed a number of bills and funding measures, working with Representative Tony Bacala, working with Senator Rick Edmonds, also Dixon McMakin, Representative McMakin, and Representative McFarland. So that was the team that, we started off with a statewide program that, because of fiscal impact, we had to shrink it down to the Amite River Basin, which, of course, I know better than any other place. The point is, we have this massive effort to reduce coastal storm surge, coastal losses, below I-10. Right. But the vast majority of the flooding that occurs in Louisiana is along rivers, and we really don't have a strategic plan to tackle rivers. So what we're doing is we're using funding. We created funding mechanisms, either direct funding from the state or also local regionalized tax revenue that's going to help us restore and protect river areas that is going to, in watersheds like the Amite River, where we're going to be able to use natural features that are going to slow the water down, hold the water back, and allow the rest of a river system to drain more efficiently. And look, that works great in the Amite River Basin, but we need it to happen in the Vermilion Teche, Ouachita, Red River. I mean, there's so many places in Louisiana where riverine flooding is the major source. It's not coming in from the Gulf of America. It's coming from our rivers.
Is it the same per river, though, or is every river unique?
Well, so yes and
like,
no.
Are there similarities where we can copy and paste?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, hydraulics and hydrology is what it is. I mean, there's a whole science around it. So we know how water behaves. And so what we'll do in our little laboratory in the Amite River Basin is we're going to figure out different ways in which we can work with the river, manage the river, and apply those to, all the rivers on the North Shore, all the rivers in Northeast Louisiana and Southwest Louisiana. We are going to be the test bed. And by the way, as this bill was passing through the process, remember I said it was a statewide bill, we had to shrink it down to the Amite River Basin. As it was going through the process, I had members from all over at committee or coming to me personally saying, we want this too, we want this too. And so I don't think either the Edmunds bill or my bill, they were companion bills. I don't think either one of them received a dissenting vote in either chamber, which is pretty remarkable. So there's an appetite there. I'll say it again, riverine flooding is our highest flood risk in the state of Louisiana. We think about the coast, but it's really the rivers and creeks and bayous in the rest of the state that are flood risk areas.
We're just straight up out of time for this particular segment, so we're going to get you back on because there's so much more to cover. State Representative Paul Sawyer, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Quick break for news, traffic, weather. Congressman Troy Carter's next.
So we need to have you broadcast at my house so we can have this long-lasting.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Let's go. I didn't even get into, and I'm going to ask everybody this along the way, is like how much 838 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. 400-8005 is the phone number if you want to call David Duvall, take advantage of his 30 years worth of experience in the business. I could tell you about One Bath and Closets because I've walked down the path. Christy and I got ourselves a new master bathroom for our Christmas present to each other last year, and it is phenomenal. The work is phenomenal. The collaboration process is phenomenal. The implementation is it's about as easy as you can imagine when you get folks working inside your house. It was just unbelievable from start to finish. There has been nothing but rave reviews coming out of the Haldane house when it comes to the work that David Duvall and his team do. Check them out at onebathandclosets.com. All right, it's time for DC Current, presented by LABI. Congressman Troy Carter on the hotline with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I am very well as well. Before we get into anything else, I want to start off with this. Were you in the district over the weekend, and did you see Sale 250?
I was not.
You missed out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not.
Oh, it was quite the scene on the riverfront. It was fantastic.
I got reports. My team was there. It was a sight to see. Very, very proud of it.
Yeah, the only thing that I would do differently is New Orleans should have closed out Sale 250 instead of opened it, because now every other port, all these sailors from all around the world, they're going to go all these other ports and be like, what, that's it? Because they tore it up a little bit. They had a good time while in town. So
well, that's a good problem for us to have people wanting more. So.
Absolutely. Let's get down to business. I have to start with this question as we move over towards what you're working on for the 2nd District and for the people of Louisiana. What is a Section 301 investigation, and why are we looking at multiple ones?
Well, what it does is it encourages the ambassadors and the trade representatives to investigate unfair and discriminatory trade practices as it relates to our products in foreign lands. Foreign sugar-producing countries. You know, we are very proud of the products that we produce in Louisiana, our seafood, our sugar. But we also know that sometimes we're undercut by inferior products, and we face the discriminatory practices. A Section 301 gives us the opportunity to advance investigations into these practices to protect our producers. You know, we know that in Louisiana, I mean, we have the Sugar Bowl. Everyone thinks about, Sugar Bowl, great football game that comes every year. But why is it here? It's here because we produce the sugar for the world. I mean, we sweeten the world. You know, approximately 13 million tons of sugar cane produced right here in Louisiana.
Right.
I mean, we don't always think about that, and we think, how does Georgia get the Peach Bowl? Well, peaches. Louisiana has Sugar Bowl because of the incredible prowess that we have in the sugar-producing world. Yet we still find ourselves in a situation where our producers are being undercut and discriminated against, and we want to make sure that for the amount of effort, time, and love that we put into our sugar cane, that our growers are not being undercut by inferior products.
So when you talk about inferior products, are they coming from other countries? Are we importing these inferior products? And what is the hope on that end? Is it just to pivot us to take care of, utilize our own product before shipping it out?
Level playing field.
Okay.
Level playing field. That inferior products are not allowed to come in and undercut prices when our products are superior, and we go through different batteries of safety and production, and then have someone to come in with a lesser product. Like, for example, in the shrimping industry, which is another area, and I'm very proud that this is a bicameral and bipartisan effort that I led with some 112 members of Congress who signed on this powerful letter to advance these issues, recognizing that this is another one of those cases where this is not a party issue. This is a people issue. This is, in our case, a Louisiana issue, but it's an American issue. And we should endeavor to find as many of those issues to demonstrate to the American people that we're not caught in this quagmire of fighting each other so much that we forget to take care of the things that's important to the people. So as it relates to people who do port shopping, when they have an inferior product that stops somewhere, they get to go somewhere else to try to sell their product. And they undercut our shrimpers by selling their shrimp significantly cheaper because it is, in fact, an inferior product. So every step of the way, what the 301 letter does is it creates an investigative tool that will go in and check these things and bring them to justice. At the end of the day, what does it mean for our producers? It means that the playing field is leveled. It means that they have an opportunity to sell their wares at the price that they deserve and to not be discriminated against or undercut by products that are not as superior as ours.
So we're talking about two completely different battles here, though, because on the shrimp side, and I feel like we've been fighting an uphill battle for years on the shrimp side, but you've got not just when you talk about an inferior product, you've got health concerns as well, because not everybody is using the same standards, and not everybody has the same water that they're pulling it out of. So there's like legit health concerns on that front. Why?
And but you could also have legit health concerns on the sugar side too.
Really?
So it's not just about, well, of course, because wherever things are being produced, you're using pesticides, you're using
Very
herbicides.
True. Yeah.
You know what products you're using to grow, the same water, the same conditions. You know, those things matter. What goes into a plant is what goes into your body when you consume it. So all of those areas that we take great pride in Louisiana of taking very seriously, others don't. And we should not be lumped in the same category of people who don't take those same health concerns as seriously as our producers do, nor should we have to sell our product at, they get the opportunity to sell their product at a lesser cost, undercutting ours when our product is superior along safety levels and everything else to those that don't have the same battery of exercises.
We got Congressman Troy Carter on with us, talking about a couple of investigations, Section 301 investigations that he's calling for. The one on shrimp, Congressman Carter. First of all, this is you and Congressman Clay Higgins, which those two guys I didn't expect to see playing doubles pickleball together. But nonetheless,
well, it just demonstrates that. Listen, man, there's always an opportunity to work together.
Of course.
And while Clay and I oftentimes disagree, sometimes vehemently disagree. Yeah. It's never personal. Mm-hmm. We have very different ideas on how to do things oftentimes, but wherever possible, we owe it to the people of Louisiana who jointly elect us and we jointly represent to identify those things that we can work on and advance them. This is a perfect example. We know that our seafood industry, our shrimping industry, our fishermen are very important parts of the ecosystem of Louisiana, but also the economy of Louisiana and the economy of the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, who doesn't know the significance of Louisiana seafood, you know, and the contributions that it makes. But we know that a Section 301 investigation offers an important tool for correcting the trade imbalances, to make sure that those people who, you know, they don't play by the rules.
Right.
That they don't get to undercut our shrimpers and our fishermen.
But you've gone at this before through the Safer Shrimp Imports Act. So talk to me a little bit about how to use one to get to the other.
Well, because one allows us to if you will, build the case, to demonstrate that this is really happening, to really go out and put meat on the bone with the 301. Mm-hmm. The other part is to give the authority of the FDA to be able to not only when they catch these inferior products, but to be able to destroy those inferior products. Because what's happened in the past is they say, okay, now this shrimp doesn't meet code, package it back up and go about your way, but then they try another port, and then they try another port, and then, you know, they ultimately find one that has lesser rules or stipulations or regulations, and now you find them on a street corner selling shrimp at 50 cents a pound when the going rate may be $3 a pound.
Right.
Well, that's not fair, one, to the hard men and women who make their living on the water, But then it's also not fair to the people who are going to consume this cheap shrimp that may have all sorts of chemicals in them and has not met the safety standards that our shrimpers are very proud to go through, albeit sometimes at a disadvantage.
About 30 seconds to go here, talking with Congressman Troy Carter's DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. So the investigations are underway. Are there timelines on them?
Everything is on a fast track. I don't have an exact timeline.
Oh, good.
But because these are issues that are ongoing and are real, our expectation is that they will be expedited.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Looking out for Louisiana. Congressman Troy Carter, we always appreciate the time, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, God bless you, my friend. Have a fantastic week.
You do the same. Got 30 seconds. Oh, you know what? I actually got it in exactly the right amount of time. We were talking with Congressman Carter about Sail 250. Want to remind you about America 250. We would love for you to be a part of it by going to talk1073.com and answering this question. Click the microphone icon and send us a voicemail answering this question. What does America mean to you? Keep it to 15 to 20 seconds. Give us your name and where you're from. Send us your audio and let your voice be part of the celebration. Here's your money now. Murray? Do you have the Chris Justin thing again?
Yeah. Do you want me to just play the audio or show the video?
Video. Oh, yeah. Let's roll with the video, too. Full size it. I love it. How does an independent grab attention in this world?
Well, like Spencer Pratt running for mayor of Los Angeles.
The fuck is this? Can you get Moon started on Facebook Live before, like after my show, and then I'll sit in with them after that so you can get out? Nelly. Debbie says it's Jody Purvis, not Purcell. I don't remember what that was about. That was way long ago.
Oh, look at this.
What? Is that a live shot? Whoa.
Well, not like that. Like.
Okay.
Michelle will be like, Bree, when you talk.
We just, we listen and we don't judge. All right. It must be in here for Moon.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. I didn't even get a look at them. I just one waved and they were moving by. Do I? Yeah. All right. 8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Oh, we're about to get out of here, y'all. I want to revisit a story from in the 6 o'clock hour. This one's just too good to not do again. Oh, my word. All right, so we're going to have runoffs for the Senate coming up in the closed party runoff for the Senate coming up later this month. Public Service Commission, we've got some seats available, and there will be runoffs there as well, closed party. Now, if you're an independent and you're running for a seat, you're not really on the ballot until November. But if you're an independent, man, it is tough to break through, to break through all the noise to where someone actually hears your messaging. All the money runs with the parties, right? All the money runs with the Republicans or the Democrats. So if you're an independent, what do you do to break through the noise and set yourself apart? Well, Chris Justin's run for Public Service Commission as an independent down in District 1, and here's how he is setting himself apart. Now, bear in mind, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, you'll see the video, but just if you're on the radio, just give this a listen.
Do you have a leaning pole? Has it been sagging over time and you don't know what to do about it? Are you worried that your pole is going to let you down when you need it most? Every pole is a little different, and you can imagine that some amount of lean is okay. But as an engineer, I needed to know, when do we have to service our leading poles? So I looked it up. And surprisingly, there are no standards for when our poles need servicing. The Public Service Commission was asked to create them 7 years ago. But Louisiana loses power way more than our neighbors, even when you ignore the hurricanes. A little wind and some rain is all it takes to shut off our lights. Now, I'm fortunate to have had my pole last serviced 219 days ago, but most people aren't so lucky.
I haven't had my pole serviced in 23 years.
I'm not a complainer, but my pole has needs.
Truthfully, I haven't even seen my pole in a long time.
I got half of mine to service my pole myself.
I don't need a plethora of poles. I just need one reliable pole that gets the job done.
What utilities don't spend servicing our poles, they keep as profit. $7 billion in storm damages later, and no one's been held accountable. That's why I built servicemypole.org. Upload a picture of your leaning, rotten, untrimmed pole, instantly get a score assessing how bad it is. We're building a leaderboard of the worst poles in Louisiana. Show me yours at servicemypole.org. I'm Chris Justin. I'm running for Public Service Commissioner. Join us. Tell your utility, service my pole.
Service my pole.
Service my pole.
Service my pole.
I just want y'all to service my pole. I wish they would just service my pole.
When I'm your commissioner, I'll make sure that they service your pole.
Thank God.
And by the way, I'm an independent. I don't answer to any political party, and I'm not taking any money from utilities.
I mean, the guy's got a shot here. That, if that's not viral already, it's going to be. That's going to be the ad of the season for the Public Service Commission race in District 1. And who has ever said that before? Oh, my goodness. Brilliant, brilliant video. Anyway. He
untrimmed.
He said untrimmed. Another guy said he was going to service his own pole. What? Hey, I don't need a lot of polls. I just need one poll that gets the job done.